Hello and welcome to the Powerfish Podcast. I'm Fish.
And I'm Ben. Have you ever felt like that your brain deceives you? Like you see a face in clouds. Everybody knows about that. But you can see a face in tree bark or your chicken noodle soup staring back at you. You know?
Dang, that's terrifying.
You can... It's crazy.
That's not what you want first thing in the morning either.
No. Well, who's to say you're eating chicken noodle soup first thing in the morning?
I eat whatever I want first thing in the morning. This morning it was nothing.
Yeah, whatever you want, which is sometimes not anything. Yeah, so sometimes it just feels like your brain's lying to you. Intrusive thoughts, you know, all this stuff. We've thoroughly explained intrusive thoughts, and in fact, all thoughts. You don't get to pick them. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about today how dumb our brains are and how just manipulatable. Is that a word?
Yeah, manipulatable. That's a word.
Okay. For some reason, I'm thinking like malleable, but that's not.
Malleable is the ability to be formed, but manipulation is... I guess, what is the difference between
if you can manipulate
malleability and manipulability?
See, it's hard to say. That's why I second-guessed myself.
What'd you say?
Manipulatability.
Oh, okay. Manipulatability. What am I looking at?
Or did I just say manipulability?
I think you said manipulability. But now that doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound right.
Being
manipulatable is a word, I think. This is how you start off being dumb. A topic about being dumb.
Yeah, manipulability.
It's manipulability, not manipulatability?
No, manipulability versus malleability. Ability.
If something's malleable, it sounds less ominous than manipulation. Malleability.
Something's malleability is a substance's ability to deform under pressure. But manipulation is, I think, maybe a little more mental.
Yeah, malleable sounds like you're like...
But I mean, you can manipulate matter.
Yeah. And it would mean the same as malleable, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But is that just using different definitions from different fields to describe
probably
different sub-states of matter?
Manipulation might not... Applying that word to matter might not matter. Might not actually be correct.
Yeah.
But works, colloquially speaking.
But manipulability seems to be a word.
Manipulability.
That
I think I said manipulatability. But I don't know. Let's move on.
Oh, okay. Okay. This was really interesting to me. But
yeah,
let's move on right from it.
Yeah. We are manipulable. God, that doesn't sound right, dude. I'm telling you, that whatever you're looking at is wrong and dumb. It's as dumb as our brains are.
Maybe.
So we've got a few things to talk about today and how silly, stupid we are. First one being what I mentioned at the very beginning, or at least related to it, is pattern seeking, or otherwise known as patternicity. So seeing faces where there are none. Now the faces thing is thoroughly explained. Do you know why that is? That why we see faces like freaking everywhere?
Well, isn't it evolutionarily. Our minds are better equipped to pick out faces in, like, you know, a bush or something,
right?
In the darkness.
The people that evolved to see faces more often than the ones that didn't, the few times where what the face that they were looking at actually was a real face, on average survived longer and more often to pass on their genes. Right. So the ones that didn't see a face where there was one, they died. They didn't get to pass on their genes.
The face got them.
The face got them. they got eaten by a face, whatever that face may have been. So yeah, like two eyes, mouth, we are hyper attuned to seeing that stuff. But if you don't believe in evolution, then I don't know how you explain that one. Anyway, a quick dig at people that
Earth was formed in 7 days.
Yeah, 7 days. So another one is karma and apophenia, which is just believing things that happen for some other reason than simple cause and effect. Like they believe they have lucky shoes, you know, that influenced something, some sort of metaphysical woo-woo nonsense, right?
Yeah.
That's a pattern that we associate that generally does not have any correlation to reality. But that's not to say that this also is not an effect. If you believe something, sometimes that thing is simply more likely to happen. Because, like, if you think you have lucky basketball shoes,
yeah,
and you're playing a basketball game, I can tell you, as a matter of fact, the basketball shoes don't got crap to do with, you win in the game. But the confidence that they might give you might have an effect.
It's like it's like Mike's special stuff. You know what I'm saying?
What?
What was it called?
Mike's special stuff.
What is it? Secret stuff? What is it? It's what do they call it? Yeah, Michael's secret stuff. Yeah,
Michael's secret stuff.
It was in the movie. God, Space Jam. It was in Space Jam. You ever see Space Jam?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh my good lord! So it's Michael Jordan, a basketball guy. It's Michael Jordan is pulled into the world of the Looney Tunes, and he's got to play the basketball game to say. But anyway, so they're just absolutely just losing. They're just getting pummeled out there, and so I think it's
Michael
Bugs
Jordan getting pummeled.
All of them. Because they're up against hulks of beings.
Oh,
and so Bugs Bunny goes and gets a water bottle and just writes Michael's secret stuff on it, and then he goes to the rest of the gang on the crew, and he's just like, here, Mike, you got to take your stuff. And Mike's like, what are you doing? And then everybody else is just like, oh, you got to. I'm explaining this really poorly. I'm trying to recall the plot of this movie as I'm speaking. But then they're just like, oh, you're holding out on us. You're not giving us your secret stuff. We got to win. So then they take this witch's water, and it makes them perform better.
It's just water.
It was just water. But they believed it was what gave Michael Jordan his talent.
I get the plot. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it took me a minute to explain it, but we got there.
That's exactly what I'm talking about with this whole...
I'm glad I was relating to the topic.
Yeah, it got there in the end, Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan. Yeah, apophenia, that's basically what that is. It's not an actual effect, but it can have an actual effect because of your psychological
is it like
state.
Is it like placebo?
Yeah, okay. Basically, yeah. It's pretty much just placebo. So yeah, we also perceive order in chaos. Like if there's randomness, there's been studies on this where people try to like play a pattern game, and where they like press a button and some reaction happens. Where in reality, the button and the reaction, or a couple of buttons and a couple different reactions, are just absolutely randomized and have no meaning. But very, very consistently, people try to find meaning in the randomness. Like, oh, I think this happened when I pressed this button, but only X% of the time, and then this, yeah.
It reminds me of roulette. Roulette's like that. You know roulette?
Like a roulette wheel, black, red.
Yeah. So you put your chips down on just like either all red or all black, or a certain number on the board.
Yeah.
And then because they'll say this, and we like, oh, you know, it hasn't hit on this, it's due.
It's due. Yeah. That's okay. I'll talk about this book later, but there's a book that talks about this probability fallacy of if something has been happening for a long string of times, then the other thing that it hasn't been doing is due to be done.
Yeah.
Even though the probability is just as random each individual instance.
Yeah.
Like you just said, some people roll black, and it's been black like 4 or 5 times in a row, and then everybody starts rolling red. It's like, it's due, it's gonna be red, but it's 50-50 from the start each time.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're idiots and
a bunch of dummies.
Yeah. No, but and sometimes when people roll 2 dice, the plural of dice is die, isn't it?
No, the singular of dice is die.
But dice is
one of one die.
Okay.
And dice is 2 or more.
I think I've been duped into, because I have heard people say die as sort of like deer.
Oh, that's wrong.
Okay.
Or you mean? Well, because I'm saying it's wrong in the sense that die cannot mean multiple.
Right.
Die.
Yeah. There is no plural.
Multiple die is just dice.
Right. Not like deer and plural of deer
Yeah.
is deer. Okay. Yeah. I've heard people use that before, and I
talk about dumb humans.
Yeah. I just about became one of them.
Yeah.
Or more of one, I should say. But anyway, so people have dice, and if they're trying to roll a high number, they roll it harder. If they're trying to roll a low number, they like.
I've seen that.
Kind of like delicately.
As if that does anything.
As if it does anything. Right. Yeah. So you can see the pattern nonsense like abundantly in casinos. Another one is astrology.
Well, astrology is real.
Astrology is one of the most widespread nonsense pattern fallacies alive today, because you see it in 60% of Tinder bios.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I brought up last week how I don't remember why I brought up the fact that I'm single and on dating apps last week, but what were we talking about not last week, 2 weeks ago? But what were we talking about? What was the episode about?
It was about faith for 3 hours.
For 3 hours.
What the hell were you talking about Tinder?
I brought up that last week.
For
It was something to do with other people's bios. Oh, it was because, like I believe in Jesus, and we were talking about how, we were talking about how we wanted to get to know how real their faith was.
Right.
Well, also, a lot of people do that. They'll be like, I'm a Libra.
Cancer. It's like, yeah, you're freaking Cancer.
I'm a Cancer. It is funny. It is funny. And we've talked about astrology. I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast necessarily, but we've talked about it in general, and about how they're so general of definitions that they could apply to almost anybody.
Yep.
I do feel like, not that I'm saying it's real, but I do feel like I can really identify with a lot of the Cancer traits, and I can look at other people and their star sign, and it seems like they fall in line with a lot of the things that are said there. And the reason it's because you got to do a cross-examination, because then it's just like, well, what if I was that? Am I that? And it's usually not. So it is interesting, but I'm not saying it's real. I'm just saying it is interesting.
Well,
to me.
that leads us right into another form of pattern seeking, which is confirmation bias. Which absolutely, which explains that perfectly, is if you start with X framework and follow reasons why you might be in X framework, like Cancer, generally speaking, you're going to find reasons.
So you know what a better way to do this would be?
What?
Just take at random and not know what star sign it is. Just take the traits of a star sign, and let's hopefully you don't know them, which one it is off the top of it, and then see if you identify with it. And
or just get a sample of people, disregard what their actual star sign is, randomize what star sign they get, and then pattern match to it.
That's what I'm saying.
If you can, then which I'll tell you, that has been done ad nauseum. It's nonsense. So
that is interesting. So if you don't know what star sign you're trying to align with, and you're just aligning with something, you might have an easier time identifying.
Right. Yeah. That's literally confirmation bias. Is if there are reasons to find a thing, you will find the reasons. It is that simple, and that's why religion is a thing.
Damn. Can't go one episode without dogging.
Yeah, I can't. We just can't do it. We can't go one episode without trying to.
I can't judge. It's usually me
trying to dunk on religion. But I mean, it is obviously this is not a unanimously applied thing, but so often it is the fact that when people start with the conclusion and go to the evidence, they find their evidence. Right? It doesn't have to be religion. It can be literally most things. If they start with their conclusion and look for the evidence, they will find the evidence.
Answers in Genesis.
All the answers you could need. Right. So, yeah, that's confirmation bias. So there's a study by science.org looking at the illusory patterns in people. So they tried to see if people would see images in just random noise like static noise on a TV, you know,
Yeah.
or forming false correlations in the stock market between two maybe similar things.
Yeah.
Or conspiracy thinking, you know, that's
Yeah.
another big thing that people find patterns in, and also superstitions, like how I said lucky shoes or something like that.
Are there any superstitions that you previously held?
Well, shoot.
Or currently
I was
hold,
gonna say there might
guess?
be superstitions that I currently hold.
Well, yeah, it's kind of just a thing. We're talking about it. It's dumb humans thing in nature.
Right, it's dumb humans. Yeah, it's kind of built into us that we like. I feel like I've been having better luck with XYZ, but sometimes it's so subconscious that it's not like.
It's like you can't
Stand
recognize
out in my mind.
You can't recognize the problem in your logic with it because you don't know it's a problem.
Right. Yeah. Like. Yeah. Okay. There maybe is a illusory pattern. So recently, during my deliveries, it's been getting quite heavy because it's nearing Christmas, and I've been running a lot. And because I don't run all the time, my knees start to feel that after a few days of consistently running.
Yeah.
And being unconditioned for it. So I switched shoes to a more cushioned shoe. And because it feels to me like it would help with something like that. But in fact, it makes it worse because the more cushioned your shoe is, the more stabilizing that your ankles and knees have to compensate for.
Yeah.
So, or did I say the less cushioned? The more cushioned a shoe is. Did I say that?
I don't remember which one you
Whatever.
said. Yeah.
The more cushioned a shoe is, the more stabilizing work your ankles and knees have to do to compensate for it. Which is the exact opposite of giving your joints a break. So, but for some reason, it feels nicer on my feet. So I'm like, maybe this is making things better, but in fact, it's actually making things worse. So maybe that's a superstition.
You know what? I assume you'd classify this as a superstition. You know what's one that always annoys me?
What?
That other people do? I mean, I've done it before, but it's like the one where if you speak something into existence, the opposite is going to happen or something. You know, like if we're
like counter manifestation,
kind of like if we're out throwing frisbees and I throw a shot and somebody goes, "Oh man, that's a good shot," and then it hits a tree. And then everybody goes,
nicing,
"Oh,
nicing
come
shot."
on, man!"
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. I'm always like, that doesn't have anything.
Shut up. Yeah, I mean, I do it because it's a funny haha.
Yeah, but there are people. I know people that will literally be like, "I can't believe you would say something like that," and I'm like, as if my words shifted the air.
Yeah,
like what are you talking? My words planted the tree. Like what do you mean?
Yeah, that now in a world like disc golf, nicing someone's shot is, I think it's more often seen as just a funny haha.
Yeah,
but the whole concept of jinxing, is not always seen as a funny haha.
Because that happens. That is such a prevalent thing that people talk about. Oh, you jinx me. It's like, I don't know about that.
We need to ask people how many of them actually believe that there's like some force in the universe called. Well, I guess it would be related to something like karma, maybe.
Yeah.
But if there's actually some force in the universe that is somehow dictating this stuff. You've brought this up on the podcast before, and how if you tell yourself, like if you're, I don't know, let's say you're top 5 in a battle royale video game.
Yeah.
And you're like hyping yourself up, like, I got this, we can do this, we're going to make this, we're going to get this dub. And this might actually have been the exact example you gave.
I have no recollection of what you're talking about, but continue.
Well, you're talking about Joey.
I still have no recollection.
Okay, well, this is going to be a new information for you. So So if you were playing this game, you're hyping yourself up, talking to yourself. Some people might say like, "Shut up, you're gonna jinx it. Don't say anything. Let's get to the end and worry about it then." So, but in reality, because we just talked about how sometimes the psychological effect that actually believing something can have on you can help that thing to actually happen.
Yeah.
So if anything, in that instance, jinxing would help. Or not jinxing, sorry. Telling yourself you're going to beat the match or whatever. Encouraging yourself would help the situation.
Well, because it can go one of two ways. Either it's you bring it up and then you've jinxed it, but in a way that's helped you maybe be a little more cautious or something, or have a little more focus. Or if you say something with a lot of like, "Hey, we're gonna win this, we got this," maybe that let your guard down a little bit. It could go either way.
That's true. You're right. And none of it has to do with forces in the universe, something called jinx.
It's all psychological.
It's all psychological, right? Yeah. It can help in some certain circumstances and hurt in others. So back to this study where they studied people and their illusory pattern seeking. This is really interesting. The more out of control of the situation that they felt, the greater their pattern seeking tendency was. The more in control that they felt, the less pattern seeking there was. And it was a pretty, I didn't write the exact numbers down, but it was a pretty big margin. So it's interesting. If you are in a situation where you feel out of control, your brain's going to work its best to try and get patterns, make connections the best it can to make yourself feel in control.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you already feel secure, you're in control, you have no like anxiety about anything, the amount of false connections you're going to make to nonsense is a lot less because your brain doesn't need to do that to feel in control. We have a built-in psychological aversion to feeling like we're out of control of a situation, which is really interesting. So, and people that scored higher in cognitive reflection, that could also be just called mindfulness, were less likely to find illusory patterns in all situations. So if you were more mindful of your own psychological state in the moment, at any given moment, you were less likely to find and identify illusory patterns.
I feel like that's intuitive also, because instead of quote unquote wasting your time with these patterns out in the world that aren't actually real, you are instead making patterns in your own mind. Your control comes from within.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's actually, that makes sense. Yeah. So that's interesting. So maybe people that believe in astrology have no control over their lives, dude.
They've never thought about their thoughts once.
No, they don't know what mindfulness even is.
Wow. Called out.
Because, it does kind of make sense if you are in a state of or if you've grown up with a lack of control over your own life, maybe you have to feel like you need to identify with a type of person, and astrology is a way to do that. You know,
maybe you could take it a step further, and you could say that. You could say like, oh, this person, thinks about their personality and how they align with the star signs. Maybe they are really introspective in that way, but really they're relying on something external in themselves to tell them who they are.
Right. Exactly. They're getting a sense of control by illusory pattern
instead
seeking.
of actually understanding themselves. They're letting something else tell them what they are, and that is quote thinking about themselves. But the thing's already done the thinking for them.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe there's something there. Astrology. People, they need to be more secure in their lives, gain some control over their lives, get some independence. So yeah, pattern seeking. That's one way that we're really dumb, and I think that's quite interesting because I would say you could maybe expand this concept to our discussion on realism and nominalism. We see patterns by way of structures in the world. We make these things up, even though there is no real distinction once you start pulling apart things and matter and stuff.
Yeah.
So that could be just itself another illusory pattern that we make up.
It's a practical one.
It's certainly a practical one and a very useful one at that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, most of the things that we adapted are useful.
Yeah.
In some way or another. So it makes perfect sense. Because so let's say you're in a situation out of control. You know how much anybody hates to feel like they have no control over a situation. Mm-hmm. The people that had the genes to make illusory connections in their mind and get a false sense of control probably had more composure over themselves in tough situations than ones that felt like they had no control. Perhaps.
Yeah.
And if you have more composure, then you can, run away from a lion or attack whatever animal is attacking you during that given day if you have more composure over yourself. Because you've created a false, albeit but a sense of control in your own mind.
So we're saying maybe that the anxiety that you get from having a lack of pattern could produce some sort of issue when it comes to survivability.
Yeah. If you're feeling anxious because you're out of control of a situation, then
you're going to act maybe irrationally.
Yeah, you're going to be more brazen than. So that maybe that could be an evolutionary reason for illusory patterns.
And what am I getting at here? What were we just talking about? If you have the patterns, you are
more psychologically stable,
right?
Perhaps?
Stable, and maybe stability can bring stability is a more a better starting position than anxiety when it comes to building confidence.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe in a survival situation, the more pattern stable of them could lead to confidence a little bit better, and that's better in a survival situation.
Perhaps, yeah.
I mean, we don't know that at all.
This is evolutionary psychology, which is it's a science, but it's a very hard to actually prove a lot of the things that evolutionary psychology says, but a lot of the things that they say make sense.
Yeah,
or can make sense. So
just like us,
absolutely, just a theory, or a hypothesis. All right, so next we're going to talk about anchoring. This one's super interesting.
Yeah.
So anchoring. There was a study conducted where a wheel of fortune was rigged to land on either the number 10 or 65. Participants were asked to spin the wheel and write the number down. They were then asked, is the percentage of African nations that are members of the United Nations larger or smaller than the number that you just wrote down? And then later asked, what is your best guess of the percentage of African nations in the United Nations? Mm-hmm. So the average estimate of those who wrote 10 and 65, so spun the wheel to either land on 10 or 65, were 25% and 45% respectively.
Yeah.
So on average, the people that spun the wheel and got 10 wrote 20% less African nations that were in the United Nations than the people that landed on the number 65.
Yeah.
Which is, that makes, logically speaking, that is the dumbest, most nonsensical thing ever, because why would a Wheel of Fortune have any bearing on the amount of African nations that are in the UN? Mm-hmm. It wouldn't at all. But it did. A quite large effect, 20% in fact. So this anchoring effect to a certain number applies even to experienced assessments of things like real estate pricing and jail sentencing. So real estate agents, if they see a house with any given price, the amount that they would assess the actual value of the house based on their own intuition is extremely dependent on whatever the original price of the house is, no matter how absurd.
When listening to their book you got over there, they were talking about that, and that was so interesting to hear. It was the really interesting thing for me when they were talking about that, not only was the fact that happened at all, but also that the more professionals, the professional veterans, they were so adamant that wasn't what was happening.
Exactly. The only difference between the amateurs and the professionals in their price assessment was that the amateurs said, yeah, the listed price may have had an effect on my fair price assessment. And the professionals were like, no, the listed price had nothing to do with my fair price assessment. I'm a professional, yeah. When in reality, it affected both of them quite substantially.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact figures, but it was quite substantial.
It was a lot. And the same applies with sentences, jail sentences. So a lot can go into a judge's jail sentence, and one of the things is anchoring. So there was a judge that I didn't write the exact study or example down, but it was similar to this Wheel of Fortune effect, where there was a high number and a low number that had absolutely nothing to do with the sentence, right? And whether they spun this wheel and got the low number decreased the sentence by like an average of like 50% almost. It went from like however many months down to a lot less than that. And if they got the high number on the wheel, their sentence was significantly higher. Now that can also be affected by things like if the judge has eaten in the last hour or two.
Yeah.
So like the volatility in jail sentencing is insane.
Well, I feel like that's just kind of everywhere. This kind of we want to think that our systems are so rigorous that it'll rule out any of those issues, but they don't. They can't.
It
really.
Literally, because it's baked into our psychology. We can't avoid it. Like, so last week, I was literally doing jury duty, and dude, the amount of ignorance that everyone there has to psychology is scary. Is scary. Even the attorneys.
Well, they don't need to know psychology. They just law.
They do law. But the judge too. Like, when you're on a jury docket, everyone on the jury gets asked like a bunch of like weeding out questions, any reasons that you should or should not be on this jury deciding this whatever convicted man or woman's fate. And the questions that the judge is asking are like, one of the things he said, it wasn't even a question, was you need to set aside your biases so that you are judging in a completely and utterly unbiased way. All your previous biases need to be set aside so that you can judge objectively. And I'm like,
how the hell do you do that?
That is impossible.
Yeah, how do you do that?
What you can do is recognize your biases, but it's impossible to set aside biases because the very thoughts that pop into your mind about what you might think is an objective assessment would not have popped into your mind if the previous biases didn't exist.
Yeah.
So the very thoughts that you think are alternate thoughts if you had different biases.
I think you're right. I mean, that doesn't mean that we can't recognize it, and that doesn't mean that we can't maybe be better than not thinking about it. If we can recognize
we can try and counteract our biases, but it is simply impossible to set aside our biases.
Yeah.
Because if that was possible, everyone would just be a Spock-like logic robot.
Well, that's what I'm saying with the example you just gave with the courtroom. Is just like we want to think that we can rule these issues out, and we're this robust system that is completely unfazed by personal issues and things like that, but it's just not the case.
It's just simply not the case. And one of the questions that the defense attorney had was, do you seem like the type of person that would think independently and not be peer pressured? And that was another one where I was like, we might think we can think, away from the pack. But here's the problem. Every single person answered yes, except me. Which got me off the jury. They didn't select me.
Wow.
But every other person said, yes, I'm an independent thinker, not affected by peer pressure.
Well, isn't that just something?
Isn't that ironic that everyone is not affected by peer pressure?
They're probably looking at you like, this guy's stupid.
Exactly.
He doesn't know.
I'm the stupid guy.
He doesn't
here.
know what the correct answer is here.
Yeah. So it's like, isn't that ironic that, because if that was actually the case, well, they all just engaged in group thinking by all answering the same thing. That's one of the most ironic. It's like, oh my God. And I'm the one that gets kicked off the jury docket because I know that we like to think we can be independent thinkers. But the group mentality is built into our genetics. We are social creatures. And we might rationalize ourselves into the thought process of the majority, thinking it's ourselves doing it, when in reality, we're just trying to be more like the group.
I mean, if there's anything that we've learned from our discussions on this here podcast, it's that your culture heavily shapes who you are.
Yes, extremely.
And if you can't, all you got to do is look outside.
Just look out the window.
And you'll see people behaving in a certain way. And that evidence of conforming to a culture is evidence of groupthink.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that's even bad.
No.
I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is that people are completely ignorant to the fact that they're doing it. We are social creatures, and it is impossible for us to think outside of the group. Impossible.
Yeah.
Again, what we can do is recognize when we can try to do our best at that and try to counteract it. But it is impossible to just simply set it aside. We cannot be Spock-like logic creatures. Just simply cannot. And just the ignorance of, I feel like this is something that really should be taught in a court of law.
Yeah.
We are talking about people's lives here. It's just so disappointing to see.
I mean, we know, at least in our culture, that it's very much not a justice system. It's a legal system.
Exactly. It's not a justice system.
They don't care what the lives of people and all that, but at least I don't think so.
It's just a job.
It's just a job.
They're doing the job.
And I think you're right. If they were to care a little bit more about the actual humanity of people, there would be a little bit more psychology taken into account.
Exactly. There would have to be.
But I'm not a lawyer, so who knows?
I don't know anything about law.
Maybe I tried looking it up a little bit ago. I was just like, do judges have to take like extensive psychology courses? But I couldn't find a firm answer. Or is it simply just like you take law courses?
I imagine, for my own sanity, I want to believe that there is some sort of psychology requirement.
Well, I mean, we know that anybody that goes to school and like higher education takes a psychology course, but like that's psychology 101.
You're not getting into like evolutionary psychology and real deeper stuff.
Yeah.
Like human nature psychology. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that that was so ironic that the group unanimously decided that they were all independent thinkers. It was just so, and I'm the one because I knew that, because it's literally impossible for people to distance themselves from what the group thinks. I'm the one that gets kicked off the jury. But anyway, I'm not salty. You're salty.
Well, there's a lot of people that getting kicked off a jury duty would be just a dream come true.
Well, yeah, a lot of people don't like to be on jury, but I do. I kind of enjoy it.
Never been.
I was on 2 cases this week, actually. One of them I did get on. The first one. The second one I did not. But you know what I did? You know what I answered? They asked the same questions every time. You know what I answered the first time?
What?
I'm an independent thinker.
Oh.
I followed the group.
Yeah. And then by the second time you were like, hey.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. But anyway, like I said, I'm not mad. You're mad. So
Well, now I know what to say if I do want to get kicked off a jury duty.
you're not an independent thinker. Yeah. Almost. Oh, that's a pretty good way to.
Which
make
is
sure you
funny
don't get
because
on
if they were
jury.
to actually, they would never do this. But if they were actually to like come out and be like, well, what's going on there? What's like, why do you say that?
Right. If they were to,
I would have a reason to say that.
Right. If they were to actually talk to people individually, which they don't do, then maybe things would have been different.
Because
but
just like
they
you're
don't do
saying,
that.
I would think that if they were to actually know that the reason I say that is because of the evolutionary biases that we hold and how I can recognize that and recognize those biases, we would probably be better fits for a jury because we could kind of think through that a little bit more than the average Joe.
Right. Yeah. But like I said, it's not a justice system. It's a sort of incarceration system, punishment system. So this anchoring effect is also extremely, we see this every day, everywhere we go, extremely powerful in sales. Mm-hmm. So a very common sales tactic is what's called top-down selling.
Oh, yeah.
Where, let's say you're a car salesman and you're trying to sell a car with like 6 different packages of like heated seats or cooled seats, better stereo, bigger tires, whatever, or bigger wheels, whatever the situation may be. You give them the price of whatever the highest is, no matter what, no matter the situation. And boom, they're anchored with a number.
Yep.
Now, as soon as they get that anchor and they see the number going down, it's going to seem a lot better than if you start with an anchor of a low number.
Yeah.
And this is just almost, it seems almost intuitive to us when we explain it that way. Mm. Like everyone obviously knows this. Or if you see a sticker, I think this was also in the book. There was a sticker like of cans of soup in a grocery store, and it said limit 12.
Yep.
Which is insane. That's an insane limit.
Yeah.
But on average, people bought double the amount of soup when it said 12 versus when it said no limit.
Yeah.
Simply because there's an anchor there of the number 12. Mm-hmm. So
I have personally a lot of experience with this when it comes to sales. I mean, the way at when I worked sales at the company I currently work for, they do that a lot. So their anchoring point, they put on the sheet the highest number possible, and that means like the not MSRP. We're above MSRP. We're talking what they call the advertised price, which is the highest number that they can feasibly put on a tag. And you get down.
Which is basically just fake.
Yeah, it is fake.
It's fake for the sake of anchoring.
Yeah, and people would say like, "Oh, well, you never sold at that price," and I'd be like, "Well, no, we didn't." Good news for you is you don't have to pay that price. Well, nobody ever paid that price. You're correct, sir.
But the problem is they've already been anchored.
Yep,
they've already been anchored to that price, even if they think they're not. Mm-hmm. Because, like we said, even professionals that think just seeing a number, that doesn't affect but even seeing a number, like in the case of judges or the African nations in the UN, even if you just see a number that has nothing to do with whatever number you're assessing, it still influences it.
Yeah.
Which is wild. That is crazy.
That is crazy.
So this is an extremely powerful psychological tool in something like salary negotiations. If you really want to be the first person to get your number out, because whatever number is out first, there's the anchor. If the employer gets their number out first, let's say $50,000 a year. They say $50,000 a year. Now you're both anchored to that number, and you're either going up from that or down from that.
Yeah, if you start right out of the gate and you say 70.
70 a year, right?
And then now they got to come down. But if they start at 50, now you say 70, and they're like, "Well, that's
ridiculous." Exactly. But if you say 70, it's like, okay, wait, let's come down from that. But the thing is, you can still come down $10,000 a year, and you're at $60,000, which that looks like a good number now, because you started with 70 versus starting with 50 and working your way up to $60,000. That looks like, we're paying this guy a lot.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. So you want to get your number out first, right? but it has its limits. If you're working at a $60,000 a year job and you say 300 grand, that's a stupid anchor. You have now lost all credibility.
Yeah.
So it has its limits. But regardless, the effect is still there, and it is extremely powerful. So this happens for several factors. Sometimes it's priming an idea. Okay, so if you don't actually, let's say, you know this example because you read this part of the book. Did Gandhi die older or younger than 144?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you want an answer?
Yes.
Oh, I would say it was less than
Right.
that
Okay.
number.
How old do you think Gandhi died at?
I mean, I don't actually remember what the number was, so this would be a genuine answer. I would say like, God, why am I doing? So okay, here's what's going on in my head. So I read this part of the book, and even now I'm just like,
what's happening,
and now I'm just like, I should probably say like somewhere around 100 years old. Is that even remote? Right. He could have died at 60. Who knows?
Right, exactly. He might have. But you've been anchored to 144. You know the effect, and it still has power over you. Isn't that crazy?
It's so crazy.
Isn't that crazy? So my answer, when I read the book, I was like, oh my God, obviously not 144, maybe like 110.
Yeah.
And then he said, he died at like 70. That's crazy. That's so crazy. But I was anchored to 144, which is an absurd number still.
Yeah.
So
almost anybody will hear that and go, that's not right.
Of course, exactly. And then they're going to be like, obviously that's not right. So then they think the number has nothing to do with their answer.
Yeah.
But it's so powerful. Even knowing the effect is happening, you still want to stay at 144.
It's so funny because the number that went to my mind immediately was like 100, 105, somewhere in there. But like, there are not a lot of people that live to be that old.
No. But also, what priming somebody that is the age of 144 does in your mind before you even think about anything is an old person. It puts the image of an old person in your mind. And then that becomes something you start working off of too. When the anchor has literally nothing to do with anything. So that's what it means by priming an idea. Even if you have no idea as to the answer, you've got to start somewhere. And why not start at whatever number you were given or whatever idea came to your mind when that number was given to you? So, and this is kind of what we explained with something like salary negotiations, but other times it's just because you start from the anchor and insufficiently adjust from it, right? So that's, I would say, probably the more common one. But this anchoring effect, although so powerful on our psychology, it can be mitigated significantly by deliberately thinking against whatever anchor was just presented, right?
Yeah.
So if you had thought 144 and been like, I'm going to literally try and think the opposite of this number, that can sometimes eliminate the anchoring effect, but only to an extent, because sometimes you just anchor yourself to whatever opposite number you just thought of. So yeah, anchoring it's powerful, and it's used just every day, everywhere we go.
Well, and I feel like you could really use this as an individual. You could use this to your advantage.
Oh yeah. 100%.
I'm struggling to think of a specific example, but I mean, I'm sure if you wanted to, we talked about salary negotiation, right? There's one right there. But just in day-to-day life, you could find a way to kind of plant a number in somebody's head and then ask them a question and kind of gear them towards a certain outcome.
Exactly. There was another way that this could be used for your advantage is something like solicitations of any product or service or donation, or charity, like a charity donation. I think this one was in the book. There was another example where people pulled aside bystanders and asked them, hey, would you like to donate $5 to XYZ cause?
Yeah.
And I think another group, they pulled aside and they said, hey, would you like to donate $400 to XYZ cause?
Criminy.
And on average, the people that were asked the way more money also donated like a vast amount more money. Like I think it was over $100 on average. But the people that were asked like $5, it was, I don't even think it got to $20 on average.
Yeah.
So just a anchoring like that for something like a solicitation.
Well, kind of to go back to the sales example, another thing people do, it's almost like the opposite of setting a high price and working down, top down selling, but people will come in with a low ball. That's another form of anchoring, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, but the thing is, their lowball is going to be anchored on whatever your first price was.
I guess that's true, but that's true.
The anchor, there's only one anchor.
Well, I was just thinking about that in the sense of like a lowball. Somebody has something up, and then they say, "Well, I'll go really under here," and then the person selling will be like, "Oh, well, I can't go down that low, but maybe I can go down a little close to there." But I guess if they already have a price, then the anchor's already been set. So now you're just juxtaposed between two very wildly different worlds: high price and low price.
You know that there might actually be something to that, because there is the original anchor that the low baller is going to be adjusting from.
I have an example of this. I have an example. Would you like an example?
Okay, I would take an example.
I saw it was a meme. I saw a meme.
Okay.
And it was a son texts his dad, and he sends him a link on Facebook Marketplace, and he says, "Hey, send in a lowball on this one, so then I can send in a slightly more reasonable offer. But since they just got a lowball, they'll be more willing to accept the next."
Yeah,
thing.
actually, that's what I was getting to. I think a lowball can be a sort of second anchor, but the thing is, I think the reason why is because the lowballer is anchored to your price, but you aren't consistently looking at your price. The first price you're going to be seeing is their lowball.
Yeah.
So you might be anchored to their lowball in a way.
It just depends on how much you value your original price.
Right. Or maybe just how recently you've looked at it.
Yeah.
Or thought about it.
If it's top of mind, yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, if it is top of mind and you have something listed for $500, and then somebody says, "I'll give you $100," you're gonna be like, Psh.
"Of course, yeah." Nah.
Like, I might come down to like $450.
Yeah,
but
if you listed it at $500 a week ago and then haven't thought about it, and then somebody sends you $100, you'd be like, "Okay, give me $300 at least."
Yeah.
So I think the low baller can sort of have a counter anchor in some situations. Yeah, this is sales right here. This is how you do business.
This is stonks here.
Yeah, psychological sales. So yeah, anchoring is just truly miraculously powerful. Because like we just said, even when you know about it, it still gets you.
Yeah,
still gets you. So the next one is expectations. How expectations can drastically alter perceptions. In 2001, Frederick Broch, I don't know if that's Brochette or Brochet. Depends on where the name originated from. But I'll say Brochette. In 2001, Frederick Brochette at the University of Bordeaux started wine tasting undergrads. He gave them white wine and red wine, asked them to describe each in as much detail as they could. He also gave them a bottle of expensive wine and a bottle of cheap wine and asked the same, describe them in as much detail as you can. In the first experiment of white and red wine, both wines were white. Okay, he just dyed one of them red. Students described the fake red wine as if it really was red.
Yeah.
They even described the berries that they could taste and the complexion of the redness of it, you know? And no one knew that it was white. Now, this is not to say that there is no difference between red wine and white wine. There absolutely is.
Yeah.
But what it is to say is that if you expect something to be one or a certain thing, that expectation is going to alter your perception of that thing.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure they put these guys under brain MRI scans. And literally they thought it was the same effect as if they were truly drinking red wine. It wasn't just them like lying to themselves or, actually tasting white wine, but trying to, find what might be red tasting within it. No, they actually tasted the red wine as if it was red wine, even though it was white wine. Because of the expectation, literally altered the perception.
Yeah.
Which is insane. That is insane. The expectation can make you think. The expectation of a thing can give you the experience, the actual experience of whatever you were expecting, even though the reality is that it's not that. Even though the experience can be identical because of the expectation.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
That's really crazy. I'm trying to think of situations in my life where I can recognize that that's happened. I'm struggling to come up with any examples, but I'm sure that it's plentiful.
Yeah.
Where if the way you just feel about a thing.
We have expectations subconsciously over everything we do.
I would say that you'd be hard pressed to find a situation where you don't have an expectation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So in the cheap versus expensive one, you could basically infer the same result from the last one, but basically the same situation. They describe the cheap wine, the quote unquote cheap wine, as weak and flat, and the fake expensive wine as if it was like rounded and complex, even though they were the same wines.
Yeah.
They were both cheap. But again, they genuinely had the experience of drinking expensive wine. It was not lying to themselves. It wasn't like them some sort of psychological mental games that they did with themselves. They genuinely had the experience of drinking expensive wine.
Here's a question. If they served a dish full of Fazoli's pasta
I see where you're going
at a really high-end Italian restaurant, what would be the outcome? Well, what was that experiment? That's an interesting thought experiment that I just thought of too. But I read about a thing where they opened up this like high-end shoe. It was like either a shoe store or a clothing store. Opened it up and made it look really professional. Invited out all these celebrities to come to it, but they were just selling like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like Walmart shoes or something. It was like just cheap crap, or it was shirts. It was just cheap crap, just brandless stuff. And these people were like, "Oh my god, this is so great! Oh my goodness, like this is crazy. This is the nicest stuff. Oh my god, we gotta get some news outlets in here. This is so great."
Yeah.
But it was just because of the presentation and being told that it was high end.
Right. Exactly. Well, this is how brands like Gucci and Louis Vuitton exist.
Yeah.
Is just simply expectation and honestly anchoring too.
Yeah.
You anchor a brand like that as something that is high-end and expensive, because if Walmart were to take a Louis Vuitton bag and take off the logos and then sell it at Walmart for the same price, they would be laughed out of the room.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows that Walmart you're not going to buy a Walmart bag, even though it's a Louis Vuitton bag, for, $3,000 from Walmart.
Yeah.
But you would from Louis Vuitton because you expect that and you've anchored yourself to that brand and its prices. So like the expectation effect is just, it's everywhere. This is why it's also a factor in confirmation bias. If you expect, let's say you're deliberating between, let's say you're deliberating between iPhone versus Android. You don't know what phone to get. You like them both, and then you buy one of them. The chances are, because of your expectation, you're gonna. And expectation compounded with confirmation bias, chances are you're going to be happy with your decision in a lot of instances. Now, sometimes that's not the case because there is buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
So I think that has its limits. But we'll get to another example of expectation here. So Coke and Pepsi, rivals, right?
A lot of experience with both of those.
Oh yeah, baby. Got the amount of DCs and DDPs, not DDPs, DPZs that I've had. That was incoherent to whoever's listening. Yeah. So
be drinking sodas.
We'd be drinking sodas. I've had a lot. So Coke and Pepsi, Coke was often cited in the past as the better soda than Pepsi, right?
Yeah.
But this was shown to be because people liked Coke and their branding better. Coke's red, bright cans were cooler, and they liked the advertising of Coke more than Pepsi. So that influenced how they tasted it because of the expectation, right? So Pepsi conducted a study because they didn't like this. They didn't like this nonsense. They're like, this is nonsense. So Pepsi conducted a study of where they removed the labels from the cans and just labeled the cans Q and M. That was the only difference, okay? They put the Coke in the Q can and Pepsi in the M can. Now, in this instance, participants liked Pepsi more in the study. The M can. They tasted better. When they didn't know what they were drinking and there was no like bright red, good looking can that influenced their taste, they liked Pepsi more. Now, Coke didn't like this. Coke was like, this is nonsense. Coke is better. So Coke responded with their own experiment where they also got a Q and M can, except Coke was now in the M can and Pepsi was now in the Q can.
Oh.
And it turns out people just like the letter M more.
That's
because
something.
now they like the Coke in the M can. Because people just like M more than Q. Well, this has been shown in many things. People like 1 versus 2, A versus B.
Yeah.
For some reason, we have this expectation.
Isn't there a thing where like students with like closer to the beginning the alphabet names excel or something like that?
Oh yeah, I think there is some like loose correlation with something like that, where people
the alternate reason for this though that I've seen is that when getting your name called or getting picked for something, a lot of times they go alphabetically, so you're just first up to do things.
I think there's also a thing with how easy your name is to pronounce and how well you do in business life.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, but yeah, we're influenced by just so much just absolutely banal stuff that has nothing to do with our actual perception that is altering our perception. I wanted to question if it is the case that expectation can literally alter perceptions. Is it like, does it even matter if you, let's just use the wine example. If our psychological experience is literally the same as if we were drinking expensive wine when we drink not cheap wine, does it actually matter if we drink expensive wine?
I mean, one could say that it doesn't matter anyway, because the goal should be, are you drinking wine that you like? That's
sure.
That's one way to interpret that. But the other way to interpret it is, no, it doesn't matter at all. Now, there is something to be said for, like, where am I going with this? Like, the properties of something. Is it aged for a certain amount of time? Where does it come from, or something like that? Something can just be more valuable than another thing. But
the problem is if you convince somebody of that value, or just if you lie to them, say this is aged and from Italy, and then give them the first bottle you saw at Hy-Vee, they might actually taste it as if it's aged from Italy.
Well, but I mean, they were lied to. Now, practically, doesn't matter because they enjoyed the wine. But
Sure.
that's there is still value to be considered. Something is valuable or not valuable.
Right.
But I don't think it matters on kind of a taste level. Like just because something's more expensive doesn't mean it's going to taste better necessarily.
But and all of this is to say, wine tasting is not like bunk. It's not a fake thing. There are real differences between aged and not aged, and however, there are real differences. The only thing being studied here is how your expectation of what you're drinking changes the experience and perception of drinking it. That is not to say that if someone does a double-blind study where they're not told anything about the wine, they will be able to tell the difference, right? The differences are there, and experienced wine testers can tell the difference if they are not tainted with previous biases and previous expectations. Okay, so wine tasting is still an actual thing. But here, I guess when I'm asking, does it matter, is if you get served Fazoli's lasagna at the Olive Garden, and don't get told that, you think you're eating Olive Garden, you think you're eating Olive Garden Fazoli's. No, you think you're eating Olive Garden lasagna, but it's Fazoli's lasagna. But your expectation gave you the experience of it as if it really was OG.
Yeah.
And then you later get told you just had Fazoli's lasagna.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be upset?
Of course you would be. Now, I guess the question is, does it matter in the sense that you got the experience that you wanted?
You got the experience that you wanted.
But you were still alive. Now, okay. Now, I see your point, and I raise you this point. Instead, because if you were at Olive Garden and you got sold something that was made in the Fazoli's kitchen, that's a lie, because Olive Garden didn't make it. Now, however, if you went to Olive Garden and they used ingredients, they cooked in their own kitchen with lower quality ingredients than they usually would, and they served it to you. Now I don't know, because they're not lying now; they're just going against the norm, or their norm.
That would be, I would say, the overwhelming majority would never even notice that.
Right.
That makes the expectation, the work that the expectation effect has to do is less in that instance.
Yeah.
But you,
I guess my point is, if literally I sat down at the Olive Garden and I said, I would like a lasagna, please. And then they said, okay. And they got into their car and drove to Fazoli's and picked up the lasagna and came back and put it in front of me. And I found out somehow, I would feel lied to, I guess. And I guess,
but here's the thing. If I go to OG, get everything that I want, let's say I order all of my favorite OG things, eat all of it, I have the experience of OG. And let's say everything I ordered was from Fazoli's. And I learned that only after I've gotten out to the car and sat down and been happy with my meal. And then I get told, hey, what you just had was all from Fazoli's. Then I would be like, of course I'd feel lied to, because I was. But
yeah.
But would I now then go back in time and adjust my experience to make it seem lesser than it was?
I have 2 points to bring up to you, and they are twofold. Okay. As it's a definition of two.
As a definition of two.
For one, you did not get the Olive Garden experience. You did not get the complete Olive Garden experience. You got the atmosphere and the service, potentially, but you did not get the food of Olive Garden.
But the expectation that I had of it being Olive Garden did give me the Olive Garden experience. Because that's what the expectation effect is. It is indistinguishable from the real thing.
I suppose, but I don't.
No, I'm not saying this is a bit of a stretch of a thought experiment, because the expectation effect can't. If you think you're going to be eating pizza and you get served a donut, you're not. Yeah. The expectation effect ain't going to get you that far, right? You're not going to all of a sudden think you're eating pizza. So maybe a full like Olive Garden breadsticks, Alfredo, lasagna, all of that. Maybe the expectation of it being actually Olive Garden might not get you all the way there, right? maybe for one serving of lasagna or something like that, it would. But it has its limits. But for the sake of thought experiment, let's reductio this. Let's reductio ad absurdum. Reductio ad absurdum this. You know, let's say you get a full-on course and the expectation effect takes you all the way. You think it was all OG and you react psychologically accordingly. And then you get to your car satisfied as can be, and then you just get told you got served $20 food.
But then I would raise you my second point that I never got to, which is the cost situation. If I paid, $40 at OG and got $20 worth of Fazoli food,
you had the same experience.
I paid $20 for just to sit in Olive Garden.
But you got the same experience either way.
I think on a psychological...
You wouldn't get, if you spent $40 and went to Fazoli's and ate $20 and ate $20 Fazoli food and paid $40 for that, obviously you wouldn't be getting what you paid for because you didn't get the experience that you paid for.
Right.
But you got the experience that you paid for at OG.
But did you? Because it's not Olive Garden food.
But you think that it is in every way possibly.
Since when does what I think supersede reality itself?
Because that's this entire experiment.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
What we perceive as reality?
No, you missed my point. I understand that what I think can alter reality. It can alter what I perceive as reality itself, but it doesn't actually alter reality.
No.
The value proposition of eating Fazoli's at Olive Garden still stands. You are undervalued at that point. You are paying more than you are getting back in return. From it,
literally speaking.
Literally
yes.
speaking.
But does that matter?
I would say it does.
Even though your experience is identical.
It doesn't on a psychological level, but it matters in other ways. I would say it matters.
In what way does it matter?
In the sense that I paid more for an experience that
you paid more. You paid the same for the same experience. The experience is the same.
But the experience has different components. Food is a component of an experience.
Yeah, but the experience is the same. That's the entire experiment.
I understand that, but if I go to Olive Garden and get Olive Garden food, that's one experience. And if I go to Olive Garden and get Fazoli's food, that's another experience.
No, it's not. Now, if that's the expectation effect. That is if you go to Olive Garden thinking you're going to get Olive Garden and get Fazoli's, you had the Olive Garden experience. If you go to Olive Garden and get Olive Garden, you had the Olive Garden experience. The experience is the same.
I get the real experience, I'm saying, not the psychological experience, the actual experience.
What is the difference between the psychological... What experience are you talking about other than your experience?
The experience of eating food that was prepared by Olive Garden.
Which is the experience that you got. Not the reality, but it's the experience that you got. You can't experience things that outside of you.
You can experience a specific kind of food. If I eat food that was prepared in a specific kitchen, that is food. I'm eating food that was prepared in a specific kitchen. Now, if it were to be different food, I might feel the exact same way. However, it's literally not the same experience. It is literally not the same experience.
In your mind, it literally is.
But it's literally not.
So why does that...
I might just as much appreciate this experience either way, but I am not actually experiencing the same thing.
The same... Okay, if by actually experiencing, you mean the literal matter is different than it would be, then sure. But the psychological brain neurons firing, which is itself experience, is the same.
Okay, so you and we're going to go on a trip to, I don't know, name a destination. What's a place you want to go?
The moon.
Okay, we're going to go to the moon. I'm going to take you to the moon. I'm going to pay for it. My treat, right? Okay, now step over here. I'm going to put a VR goggle over your face. All right? You've been to the moon.
Okay.
Congratulations.
By saying VR goggle, you mean you need to be more specific in this example. You need to be more specific.
I say that we're gonna go to the moon, and then instead of actually getting in a rocket and going to the moon, I'm just, you're getting put in VR and you're walking around the moon on VR. That's as specific as it needs to be.
No, it's not. You need to be clarifying that the experience that I would be having is exactly the same, and I didn't know that I was in VR.
I suppose maybe that doesn't work as an example.
No. You would have to be telling me that I'll set aside how you got hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
and a rocket ship. I'll set that aside. Okay. I'll expect expectation affects my way.
Okay. Well, okay.
What this example needs is, I don't know that I'm going in VR. And also the VR that I'm going in is so advanced that it's the exact same experience as if I actually did go.
We're not going to the moon.
Okay.
but I'm gonna take you to space. We're gonna go to space.
Okay, we're going to space.
We're going to space. And you think I'm walking you into a rocket ship that's real, right? But what I'm actually walking you into is the most advanced simulation of a rocket ever.
Okay.
The most high definition screens, it looks like real life.
Okay.
And we go in.
Indistinguishable from reality.
Yeah, and we spin around for a while in these gyroscopic machines and whatever, but you think we're just going up to space. We go around, and we come back down. Have you been to space?
Of course not.
Okay. Is it the same experience?
Yes. Because if it's indistinguishable, then how can it not be the same experience?
I think I've found the disconnect. I found it. The disconnect is you are viewing experience only through the mental experience.
Because that's the only way I can experience
what I am experiencing. But what I'm saying is there is that component, but there's also the component of what is the experience? What is the crafted experience? What is just aside from myself?
I think you shouldn't be saying experience. Experience is a word that implies an experiencer. What you should be saying is what happened in reality. Okay.
Okay. So
my experience differs from what happened in reality. Sure.
Okay.
But my experience is identical if what happened in reality also matched my experience. My experience is same either way, whether it matches onto reality or whether it doesn't match onto reality.
So I guess then I would say that, to go back to the original question at hand, if the experience is the same as this Olive Garden Fazoli's thing, then that's one thing. It is, you had the same experience, quote unquote. But what the actual reality is still matters. It still matters, and I think that you are still. So okay. I guess let me ask this question. What is the question at hand here? Is the question at hand here? Should you be upset, or is the question? What are we getting at?
I'm not sure which question led us to this tyrant, but I was somewhere along the lines of, how would you react if you had this experience? And then after the fact, we're told that reality was different from what you experienced.
Right, because you were making the claim that maybe it shouldn't matter at all, I think is what you were trying to say.
I don't know if I was making that claim, but I was definitely pressing you on why you think it does matter.
Well, I think in this specific instance, it's because I
don't know if it matters.
I guess what I'm more upset about is not the experience aspect. Maybe now that we've come full circle on this topic of experience, maybe it's because I'm being sold a product that is not what the product is.
I think it's because we care about what is true. If you and I were to be thrown into a brain in a vat, for all we know, we could be. But if you and I all of a sudden knew that we were brains in vats.
Mm-hmm.
But we were told, let's say we're brains in vats, but we don't know it. We have an amazing life in our vat brain. And then at the end of the life, we're told this has all been not reality.
Yeah.
We, I think, would be disappointed because we value I don't know if this applies across all people, but we do value truth. We value what is true and what is real.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine at one point in time, and we talked about this very thing. And we were talking about if, let's say, you had the love of your life, you were just absolutely infatuated with her or them, and somebody else came to you and proved to you that this has all been a simulation, they're not a real person. Would you still want to stay with them? And I said, and I said no.
Yeah, no.
But my friend was just like, well, yeah, absolutely, I would. And I
That's
said,
what I'm saying when I don't know if this applies across all people.
and I said, well, how could you? They're not a real person. And they said, well, they're real to me. And I said, why the frick does that matter? They're not real, actually. Like,
right. I think the experience, although maybe identical, not the experience not mapping onto what is real, I think does have an effect on some people.
So that is a direct comparison to this Fazoli's Olive Garden thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I'm saying, because you could say, well, it was the same experience regardless, just like you're with the same woman, right?
Yeah.
And it might as well be the same exact thing.
Exactly.
But I feel like if I know this, if I am clued in on this, I feel like I'm being robbed of something.
We value the truth of what is actually happening.
Does it devalue the actual experience itself? Maybe not. But
I think that's up to you. I think you can decide to have appreciated the experience you had, or you can go back and taint that experience in your memory because now you know it was false.
Well, I guess maybe. Well, it's a new experience, isn't it? Because when I say maybe it doesn't devalue the experience, I mean it doesn't devalue historically the way you felt.
Sure, yeah.
But if you were to continue, this is now a new experience. You are now
your memory of the past is now tainted.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, let's say you're with a woman and somebody comes to you and says this isn't real and that's a simulation and all that, and you say, you know what, I'm going to stick with this. The experience you had before that moment and the experience after are two separate experiences. You are either experiencing life with somebody you think is a real person, and then the life you experience with somebody who's a simulation. It's a different experience altogether.
Right. Well, yeah, knowledge of what you thought was reality no longer being reality absolutely alters the experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be ignorance. You can't know. You can't psych yourself into psych yourself into the expectation effect,
which also transposes on top of the Fazoli's Olive Garden thing. Because if you are eating Olive Garden,
don't know if there's anything different other than with Fazoli's and Olive Garden and a fake girlfriend. They might be the exact same thing.
I suppose. But yeah, no, it's literally like if you are eating at Olive Garden, eating Fazoli's, and you have one experience, you might be perfectly content. But if you are eating at Olive Garden, eating Fazoli's, and you know that it's Fazoli's, then
no amount of psyching yourself into thinking it's Olive Garden is going to ever get you there.
Yeah,
you have to have the ignorance.
Yeah,
the smoke screen of not knowing
the lies.
Yeah. So I think I agree with that. We value what is true, even if our experience is identical.
Which is why whenever you were pressing me on the goddamn Fazoli's Olive Garden thing, I was bewildered. Maybe because I didn't.
We would have never just had the conversation that we just did if I didn't.
Well, I'm not saying I'm mad that you pressed me.
Oh.
I'm just saying I was bewildered at what I thought your stance you were taking was. I thought you were saying.
I agreed with you the whole time.
I thought you were saying, well, it might as well just be the same thing. Who cares where it comes from, really?
No, that's not what I was. That is the stance I was standing in.
Okay,
but that's not what I actually believe.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Well, I do that all the damn time.
Well, sometimes I just believe you've slipped into stupidity. I don't know.
Well, we're talking about how stupid we are. That's the whole point of this episode. We've slipped into it from moment of birth. Okay, so we've got one more thing about how we're all so stupid to talk about, and that's moral cleansing. Actually a little bit about this one. We've talked about it in regards to our morality episode, I think. A little bit. But those researchers, they hypothesized that moral wrongdoing or thinking of immoral acts would trigger a desire for physical cleaning, as if one were to try and wash away their sins. So there's a few experiments done with this, and a lot of studies done on this, literally hundreds. So, first experiment was participants recalled and wrote down either an ethical or an unethical act in their past. They then completed word fragmentation games. So, like letters that are fragmented, but if you fill in the blanks, it will create a word.
Yeah.
So those that thought of and wrote down an unethical act were more likely to complete these ambiguous word fragments as cleaning related words, as opposed to just neutral words.
Interesting.
The ones that didn't think of anything unethical, it was basically just random, whatever words they filled in. There was no pattern that they could find.
Yeah.
But if they thought of something immoral or unethical, it was consistently cleaning related words, which is at face value kind of like a weird, that's kind of weird. What's going on there?
I mean, I feel like, I don't know if I'd say I probably have experienced this. I'm just not thinking of any specific examples, but like if you do something you determine as wrong, maybe you like have this subconscious urge to like take a shower or something. You know,
that's exactly what this is about.
I can't think of a specific example in my life where that's happened, but I kind of feel like that's intuitive.
Subconsciously, almost we've certainly been, whether we think about it or not, it's certainly had an effect, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So a second experiment, they did the whole writing down of unethical or ethical actions that they have done in the past, once again, and they rated the desirability of various products. Those who wrote unethical things rated the cleaning products as significantly more desirable. In the same situation, those that wrote ethical stuff, no pattern. There was no desirability correlation with cleaning products.
I just had this thought of, so if you have a cleaning supplies store, the best way to drive up sales is to, as soon as your customers walk in the door, you make them write down the most recent bad thing they've done.
Yeah, what is... Dude, this is great for religion as a business model. Repent your sins before you walk into this establishment.
Yeah, and then maybe we could also sell stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we could sell holy water for washing your hands.
But no, because then if you wash your hands, you feel like you've washed away your sins and don't need to buy more cleaning supplies.
We sell holy dirt to dirty your hands.
Make yourself even dirtier. Exactly. So there's a third experiment. This is all one study. There's a third experiment. All participants wrote an unethical act. Half of them were given the chance to wash their hands. Everyone was asked whether they would volunteer for another study after the one that they were in the process of doing. Those who washed their hands were less likely to volunteer. So the ones that feel like they washed away their sins don't feel like they have to do any more altruistic acts, like completing another study for them, because they feel like they've repented by washing away their sins. But the ones that didn't wash felt like they needed to make up for their past sins and volunteered.
God, so that is how you do that with the religious business model.
Exactly.
You got to make people perpetually dirty.
Make them feel dirty.
But then the only way that they, temporarily get rid of their sins is they buy cleaning products.
Exactly.
But then make them dirty again. Maybe you got to be dirty. You got to be dirty every day.
Maybe you got to install dirt in your fire extinguishers, or not fire. Your fire. What are the sprinkler? Overhead fire.
Yeah, the sprinkler system.
Sprinkler system.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. We've got a business. We're going to open a cleaning store with dirt in the sprinkler
system.
I
would say it really comes down to something to do with religion and cleaning supplies and just spewing dirt on everybody.
You walk in, repent your last 3 sins, write down your last 3 sins that you committed against God, and then walk into the dirt rain to get your cleaning supplies. And then you will rate cleaning products as very desirable.
Exactly. And you need them because you're dirty.
And you need them. Now, yeah, exactly. Man, someone invest. We need to get some venture capital. Okay, so these findings are you might not know until I remind you, but you know why this is happening. Because I've told you this before. You know why this is happening. So these findings are consistent with what we know about the insula and how it is partially responsible for both moral disgust and also physical disgust.
Right.
If you are disgusted physically, your insula is blowing up. If you think about something you find morally disgusting, like incest for most people. That's not implying that I'm not one of them, by the way, when I say most people.
I mean, we had an episode about that.
We had an episode about that.
Or there's maybe a situation where maybe it's fine. You never know.
Exactly. Go watch that episode, the moral, ethical, whatever the heck it was called. So, incest got me off the tracks.
Insula.
Insula, right. If someone is thinking about something morally disgusting, the insula still is blowing up.
Yeah.
So moral disgust and physical disgust both come from the insula, so they often get conflated. And this makes sense with thinking of something unethical and feeling like you need to clean yourself, right? So, although it's not always in effect. So there was a meta-analysis of 230 separate experiments with this, with a total of 42,000 participants, all in studies relating to this. There is empirical identifiable support for the idea that impure, immoral thoughts can increase the desire for physical cleansing. And cleaning yourself can modulate something like being guilty, feeling like you owe something.
Yeah.
But the effect is largely across all cultures, very slim, it's modest, it's there, but it's nuanced to context and can be exacerbated or completely non-existent by cultural factors. So it's an effect, and it's a real effect, but it ain't no anchor.
Yeah.
It ain't no anchor effect. It's not quite that powerful. But it is a sort of like lingering background sort of thing. So if you take showers all the time, you basically are an immoral, unethical being because you feel no desire to repent. You feel like you got it all out in the shower.
Yeah.
Basically,
and maybe you have. Moral of the story.
Maybe you have gotten it all out in the shower.
Go shower. Everybody should shower.
So a lot of the things that I got from this was from the book Thinking Fast and Slow from Daniel Kahneman. One of the best books I've ever read. This book had such a profound influence on how I think. This book taught me to not take myself so seriously. It taught me to realize that I'm wrong a lot, most of the time, in fact, and to be significantly more open-minded. And being an irrational, stupid person like this book taught me that I was, I felt like an indebtedness to Daniel Kahneman. I do have that feeling to a lot of authors of books that have changed my life. And I realized last year Daniel Kahneman died, which really, really sucked. And reading that, I felt this urge to I owed him something. And to support the dead guy, I bought his book in paperback.
That's good.
So that's another irrational thing that we humans do.
I suppose you're helping his estate, I suppose.
Sure.
His I don't know if he has kids, descendants or whatever, what have you.
In some way. But yeah.
Not a worthless venture.
No. So yeah, that's how stupid we are. And I hope you take yourself a little bit less seriously after this. So let's play a game.
Let's play a game. Welcome to Get Anchored. Welcome to Get Anchored. Here's what we're gonna.
Okay.
Anchor me. Anchor. I'm gonna anchor you. So I read that section of the book about anchoring, and it was really interesting. And I thought these are fun little numbers, and let's turn this into a game here. So here's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
I'm just gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you a fun fact.
Okay.
Right. I will spoiler alert. There is an aspect of the fact that is incorrect. And it's the number portion. The number is incorrect. But I'm going to tell you a number anyway, just for fun. And then I want you to tell me what that number actually is for the real fact. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you a fact, and the number aspect of it is wrong, and you're going to tell me what the number actually is.
Okay.
But subconsciously you're going to be anchored by the number. that I
Right.
tell you.
Okay. Hey, we're gonna see if I can detach from the anchor.
So here's how scoring's going to work.
Okay.
If you get within 20% of the actual answer, you get 1 point. If you get within 10%, you get 2 points. If you get within 3%, you get 3 points.
Okay. Within 3%. Oh my god.
Okay. That's hey.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. I know.
I think that's all I really need to go over. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you the first question here.
So you're asking a question.
Or not? I'm not asking you anything. But
So there's a thing. You're giving me a number, and then I have to see what I have to say if what I think is higher or lower than that number.
you're gonna tell me what you think the number actually is.
Okay.
It'll make sense when I tell you this fun fact. Fun fact here for you. The average 4-year public university student spends $1,500 a week on that is tuition, that's books, that's everything. Food.
$1,500 a week.
Isn't that crazy? $1,500.
What?
$1,500. Isn't that crazy?
That's not a fake number?
Well, if you had to guess, what would the number actually be?
I'm already lost. God damn it.
You seem so concerned. You forgot the premise altogether.
Dude, I totally forgot. We're playing a game. I need to get my head in the game, bro.
You said $1,500.
I'm already lost. Oh my god. Okay. So the average what student was it?
The average 4-year public university student spends $1,500 a week.
So this is not this is university. This is not community college.
And this is total expenses, total living expenses.
Okay. And I have to guess what the actual number is.
Yeah.
$1,500 a week. Dude. I can't do this. Shoot, man. So tuition, food, every dollar that leaves their wallet.
Thing, yeah.
$1,500 a week. Dorm. Okay. Average. Man. I'm going to guess this is week. I have to guess for the week.
Yeah, for the week.
Okay. So if I said $2,000 a week, that would about $8,000 a month, which would be about $96,000 a year.
That was the most hilarious reaction you could have had, by the way. That was so funny.
My God.
You were just completely enthralled by the number I said, even though you knew it was wrong.
I knew it had nothing to do with anything. And I'm already displaying my idiocy that we just went all over this whole episode. So if it was $2,000 a week, it'd be $96,000 a year, which seems like a crazy. I'm gonna guess $2,000 a week. What's the percentages again? 3 points for 3% and 2 points for what percent?
2 points, 10%, 1 point 10%. Within 20%.
Within 20. Okay, 1 point for. Okay, got it.
And if you get over 20, you get nothing.
So wait. No, yeah, $2,000 a week.
$2,000?
Yeah. But here's the thing. I don't know if I'm just insufficiently adjusting up from $1,500.
I can tell you you're not within 20. So we're gonna move on.
What's the answer?
That's for me to know and you to find out.
Oh, we're not done with this?
We're not.
Okay.
So we're gonna move on.
Okay.
Another fun fact for you. Fun fact. The Nile River is 5,200 miles long. 5,200 miles. Can you believe that?
Wow, that's crazy, dude. 5,200. It's got to be like 5,200 miles. I don't know where to go. Dude, I wasn't within 20%.
No.
The Nile River. This is like knowledge that I should know, I feel. 5,200 miles. It's gotta be. It's gotta be like 2,000 miles.
2,000?
It's gotta be less than that, but I'm gonna guess 2,000.
You guess 2,000?
I'm gonna guess 2,000.
You are not within 20%.
How?
All right.
It's got to be way less than that.
Well, you know a lot about the human body, though. I'm sure you don't.
I do.
And since you know a lot about the human body, you would know that there are 152 bones in the adult human body.
Oh my God. Am I taking the anchor as something that I shouldn't be following too much? Am I trying to distance myself from the anchor too far?
It's just a number, man. Age is just a number.
What was the 152?
Yeah, since you know a lot about biology, you know that there's 152 bones in the adult human body.
I think there's like 120.
120?
Yeah. Dude, I really want to get...
You're not within 20. Dude,
I gotta get one of these.
We're gonna... All right. We'll see how this goes, and then
You
I might
should
make
adjust the percentages to 99%, 98%, and 97%.
Okay. Well, hey, economics. Hey,
Okay.
hey. Did you know this? That the Eiffel Tower costs the United States dollar equivalent of $300,000 when it was built in 1887.
$300,000 for the Eiffel Tower?
$300,000 US dollars when it was built in 1887. It's a crazy fact, isn't it?
1887?
1887.
Holy crap. Am I allowed inflation numbers?
This is not, I don't have those. This is not inflation numbers.
Wow. 1887. See, okay, this is a problem. So because I want the inflated number, inflation adjusted number of $300,000, as if that means anything. As if $300,000 means anything. Why do I want that number?
I didn't even think about that. You're stupid.
Because it doesn't. I'm gonna guess it was. This is the Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower.
I'm gonna guess it was $500,1887.
Not within 20. Wow, dude. Dude, we'll see how this goes. I overestimated your abilities. I think you're getting anchored pretty hard. I didn't know that this was going to be this bad of an outcome. Okay, well, we're not done yet.
Curious as to my answers. Had it been just a question, how much without a number?
That would be really interesting, but that's not the game.
What answer would I have given?
I feel like you've got a really good shot here because you have a lot of experience in this particular domain.
Okay.
And since you have a lot of experience, you know that the average American will eat 2,500 slices of pizza in their lifetime.
Oh my God.
2,500 slices of pizza in their lifetime.
So if the average American eats... I'm just going to... 2,500 is just nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's nothing. So...
But it's in your brain anyway.
So if an average... This is slices, not pizzas?
Slices of pizza.
Let's say the average person eats 10 slices a month.
Mm-hmm.
20 slices a month.
Okay.
There's a lot of pizza places in the world. And they wouldn't be open if they weren't being purchased.
And this is just America, by the way.
America. Oh, okay, not the world. So 20 slices a month. And this is their lifetime?
This is over the course of a lifetime, average.
20 slices a month is equal to 240 slices a year, with the average person living 75, I think, 80.
That's about right, I think.
So 240 slices a year. Oh my God, 2,500 is a tremendous lowball. It's got to be. It's got to be like 10,000 slices.
What's your guess?
It's got to be... Okay, 240 slices a year on average. Is 20 slices a month a ton? Let's go 10 slices a month. So 120 slices a year. And average person lives, just say 80. We'll say... What's 120 times 80? I can do that, right? I can use
math. If you want to math, yeah, I'll let you math.
120 Okay, that's 9,600. So I was pretty on about 10. I'm gonna guess 10,000 slices in a lifetime.
You're not within 20.
How? My mathematics was spot on.
Well, that's okay because in quarter 3, 2025, Tesla delivered 873,000 vehicles.
Third quarter of 2025?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. I think it had to be like 700,000.
Is that your guess? 700,000? What are you telling me?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna guess like 400,000.
400,000?
Yeah, 400,000.
You barely got on the board. Okay.
Oh my gosh!
All right.
I'm glad I readjusted.
So okay. So in quarter 3, 2025, Tesla delivered actually 497,099 vehicles, which got you again 20% is 1 point, and you're at 19.53. So you barely squeaked in 1 point.
Thou.
You barely squeaked in 1 point. Okay.
My gosh,
we're on the board with 1 point,
that's insane.
But we're on the board. I will.
Was there a point goal?
10 points.
I've lost.
Well, you'll see. Okay. The most expensive cup of coffee in the world was sold for $1,300.
Dude, that sounds right for some reason.
Don't anchors always sound right?
13. This is 1 cup of coffee.
1 cup of coffee.
I'm gonna guess. Oh my God. I'm gonna guess. $800.
Nope.
God!
Not within 20. All right, next question. The average 4-year public university student spends $400 a week.
What? We're doing this crap again?
Now you're realizing the game. We're going back through the questions you didn't get, but with a new anchor.
$400 a week. Okay, so just before you looped, I was thinking to myself, what you should do is save my answers, and we should come back in like 6 months with no numbers this time and see what I answer.
Okay, like save the questions.
Save the questions, save my answers, except next time in like 6 months' time when I've forgotten everything, ask the questions again as a question with no number in it.
We can do that, yeah.
I think we should do that, yeah. Anyway, so...
The average 4-year public university student spends $400 a week.
See, I've already forgot what the previous anchor.
And that's the idea. Now you got.
It was $1,500. I remember.
You got a brand new anchor.
I'm gonna guess. Okay, so the average, $96,000 average tuition. So I'm gonna do, if the student, I guessed $2,000 a week. Because that was $96,000 a year. I'm going to go with if I'm saying screw your anchor and going higher, then I'm still making an answer because of the anchor.
Yeah. You're still making, yeah.
I'm still counting. So I'm screwed. And it was not within 20%.
Last time, no. If it's within 20%, either the 1, 2, or 3 points that's your number for the question. So he was not within 20 last time.
I'm gonna go with $1,000. No, wait.
Okay.
Not final answer.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with. Okay, I need to get this, dude. So food. So man, food is a lot of money. And you're paying a lot of money for books and tuition. Tuition probably trumps all. Food. Okay. I think I might have. Average 4-year. I'm going to go with $3,000.
$3,000
a week. That can't be right. Not $3,000. $1,000 a week.
$1,000 a week.
No!
No, we're not doing that.
But $2,000 sounds right to me, dude. And I know that's not even
And it
within
wasn't.
20%. My God. No, $1,000 a week.
Final?
Final answer. $1,000 a week. Final answer.
It's not within 20. It's not within 20.
You gotta be kidding me, dude.
All right, well, you got this one, though. The Nile River, I don't know if you knew this, is 3,500 miles long.
3,500 miles. It's gotta be like... Nah, it's gotta be like... 1,000 miles.
Final answer?
Final answer. Wait!
Yeah.
Get your hands off that keyboard. My last one was like 2,000 miles, and it was not within 20%. But I don't know if I highballed or lowballed. 1,000 miles.
1,000?
Yeah. Dude!
Not within 20. Well, you know this one for sure. That there are 313 bones in the adult human body.
That's way too many. It's got to be like... I wasn't within 20% with 120. 250?
The final answer?
Final answer.
Nope. I'm going to give you a slight hint. That one was closer.
Okay.
That one was closer.
Fantastic. So I hella lowballed last time. And so did you.
What?
I said, and so did you.
Oh, in the thing.
Your prior anchor was a low ball.
Well, my anchor doesn't matter, does it? But the Eiffel Tower cost $2 million US dollars to build in 1887.
And my guess of 500,000 was not within 20%. I'm going to go with... I hate this game. I'm going to go... I think that's pretty close. $2 million.
$2 million?
Yeah.
Oh, how many zeros? Hold on. Got to get the right amount of zeros in there. That is not within 20%.
Oh, outstanding. Why'd you tell me that?
All right.
God, I'm so bad at this, dude.
Well, but
Dude, like general education, this isn't even education, just general purpose knowledge, I am so worthless at.
But again, you know a lot about this one. So the average American will eat 12,000 slices of pizza in their lifetime.
12,000?
And you're one of those people.
I might have already passed that in my day. 12,000 is okay. Well, my previous guess was like 10,000. And that was not within 20%. So 12,000 is probably not very close either. Not that it matters.
It's so easy to get slipped up on.
Dude. So I did, what was my mathematics? That was spot on solid last time. So it was, I did 10 slices a month at 120 slices a year with the average 80-year-old at 9,600 slices. So let's say people eat more pizza than that.
Okay.
I'm going to go with 1,500 slices. 1,000. No, or sorry, 15,000 slices. Yeah.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Not within 20%.
My God.
All right. One more question in this pass here. The most expensive cup of coffee in the world was sold for $15,000.
No. $3,000.
3,000. Wow.
Yeah.
It's not within 20.
Okay.
I'm gonna make an adjustment.
That's outstanding.
I'm gonna tell you. So just for the sake of getting some points on the freaking board,
More than one.
I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna give me your guess, and if it's not within 20, I'm gonna tell you if the actual answer is higher or lower than what you guessed.
Okay, and then I get one more guess after that.
And then you get yeah. Anyway, so here we go.
So, wait. Oh, well, let's clarify this. So, I guess you say higher or lower, and then I can get a second guess. And then
and then we'll just continue down and we'll loop back again one more time.
Oh, we're looping back again.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, no, we got loops. We got loops.
Okay. My gosh.
I didn't think it was gonna get. I added in a bunch of anchor numbers. I added in so there's a total of 4. For each question. I did not think we were gonna get to like the second or third one, but we will. I didn't. This has quite an effect, I think. Anyway.
But there's also the possibility that I'm just worthless at this.
Well, that's true. The average 4-year public university student spends $1,800 a week.
Well, 2,000 wasn't within 20%, so that's obviously not within 20%. And 1,000 isn't within 20%. So I'm going to go with 4. That's so much money. 3,000. No. 3.5. A week? That's so much money. 3,500.
As if it matters. As if my number matters.
I'm going to go with... I just had the urge to ask you what your number was. Was it $1,700? It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Why did I care about asking what your number was? I need a reference point. I'm grasping for a reference point, and I need to stop that. 3.5 a week. That sounds like so much money. I'm gonna say, but $1,000 wasn't it? I'm looping too much. $3,500. Final answer. Higher or lower?
It's lower.
Okay, and I can answer that in the final pass, right? Is that what it is?
Let's go ahead and give me a new guess now.
So we'll combine the third and fourth passes.
I suppose, yeah.
Okay. So it's lower than $3,500.
Yeah,
but it's not 2,000 or 1,000. But those weren't 20%. $2,500.
It's lower.
What? Okay, I thought that was so much money.
Let's go on to the next one here. The Nile River is 2,400 miles long.
Nile River is 2,400 miles long. I think it's actually is.
In one syllable, you just let out like 15 numbers.
I think it's 1,500 miles long.
1,500.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gonna be higher than that.
Higher than that. I think it's actually what my real guess was 2,500 miles long. I mean, how long is the freaking Earth?
It's gonna be higher than that too. All right. All right.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you knew this. There are 248 bones in the adult human body.
248, dude. Wow. There's 220.
Points on the board. It was 206, and so that's 6.8%. So you got 2 points.
The reason I know that is because you said I was close with 250.
I know. I gave you that hint.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
you gave that one to me.
But you'll need some help on this one. So the Eiffel Tower costs...
Now, hold on. What you could have done is still said higher. What you could have said is still lower, and I might have over-adjusted myself past it. You know?
Well, yeah, but you're within 20%. You got points on the board.
Right, but you could have given me the opportunity to sabotage my own points or make them better.
I don't think you need any help sabotaging.
Okay. You're right. But I could have made it better.
Potentially. All right, the Eiffel Tower cost $4 million US dollars when it was built in 1887.
I'm going to go with $7 million.
$7 million. It's going to be way lower than that.
Way lower. 4 million.
4 million is what I just said.
Yeah.
You want to go that? You want to go with the anchor?
Yeah.
It's going to be lower.
But 2 million? What did I say? 1.5 million?
I don't remember what you said.
That wasn't 20%.
Oh, did you know this? Did you know this? That the average American will eat 7,000 slices of pizza in their lifetime.
That's crazy. 7,000? Wow, that's lower than any of my guesses so far. I'm going to guess 5,000.
5,000?
Yeah.
1 point.
Huh.
You're
within 20%, baby.
Yep, 16.67. Percent, yeah.
Okay.
The most expensive cup of coffee in the world was sold for $3,200.
$6,000.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Perfect.
On the dot?
That was on the dot.
Let's go, baby.
The full 3 points. I've got another spoof number. Do you want it? Do you want to try one more time at the remaining 3 that you didn't get?
How many points am I at?
You're at 7 points.
7?
7.7.
Okay, let me try and get
the idea of this was to loop back around through until you had at least some amount of points on each question. It was the idea.
Okay.
Ready for this?
Let's just do one more pass through and see if I can
let's do one more pass
get to
through.
10. Oh my god.
All right. The average
sweating.
the average 4-year public university student spends $1,200 a week.
$1,200 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that can't be right because 12. It can't be right because it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter, that number.
That can't be right because it doesn't need to be.
Because it's not supposed to be.
Oh
my god. Dude, I can't break myself free of this nonsense. Oh, so it wasn't $1,000. I know that. Because I guessed that. I'm gonna guess $500.
500 smackaroni and cheese. Yeah. It's gonna be higher.
$1,500.
It's gonna be lower. I'm pretty sure you already guessed that.
I think I did. I don't know. I thought that was one of your anchors previously, but I don't know.
My anchors were my first anchor was 1,500.
Okay.
You probably knew this. The Nile River is 6,000 miles long. Did you know that?
Oh wow! Did I already probably know that?
You probably knew that.
6,000 miles long, and it was. I think it's like 4,000 miles.
4,000 miles?
Yeah.
So you got it. This is a little sad. So you're at 3. So the actual number was 4,132. The percentage difference was 3.19.
Oh,
very close.
No way.
Very close. You got 2 points for that. Oh, but everybody, this is just a pretty trivial fact. Everybody knows this one. The Eiffel Tower cost $900,000 when it was built in 1887.
That's so trivial. $2.5 million.
2.5. It's gonna be lower.
God, 1880. I gotta think 1887. 1880. $2.5 million in 1887 would have been many tens of millions now. I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
God. 12. 1.2 million.
Okay. So the actual answer was 1.5 million, and you're at 20% exactly.
Oh my god!
You squeaked it in.
Barely got it.
So you're only missing one of the answers. But I guess it doesn't matter because you're at exactly 10 points.
All right.
You want to know what the
we did it with immense amounts of help.
Do you want to know what the public university one was?
Yeah.
So the average. This is a true fact. I'm going to tell you the actual no cap. As opposed to all the capping that I've done today. The average 4-year public university student spends $797 a week. So you went way higher for a lot of
30.
those.
Yeah, thousands of. That might be true in the case of like higher class universities.
I'm sure. Yeah, the upper end of the average it might be close.
Yeah, I think I was just overblowing the price of the average university. God, dude, that's a impossible game.
that was tougher than I thought it was going to be. Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Save that data, and we should come back to it in like kind of a long time when I've forgotten everything. Because I'm probably going to remember for a while a lot of the answers. So we should come back in like 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And just see, except with no anchors, how well I do. Because that'll be really interesting. My God. Yeah, that's a tough situation. Anchors are powerful.
But there's no, I mean, obviously some of it, we talked about this. Some of this is just you don't know the answer to these questions.
Yeah,
but
a
lot
how much
of
it is just me being stupid.
But a lot of it, I think, is the anchors. Because, I mean, shoot. I mean, there was a lot of these where I either incredibly highballed it or very lowballed it, and you were around there. You were around those answers, even though it had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You never know.
I mean, I kept wanting to go back to the number.
Yeah.
Like wanting the inflation adjusted price of $300,000 for the Eiffel Tower when that number means nothing, had nothing to do with anything. But for some reason, I wanted info on that number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's crazy.
We're stupid. Humans are dumb, and we don't even realize it the vast majority of the time. And free will doesn't exist, and God isn't real. So, we'll see you next episode.
See ya.